Chapter 29. The Command Lookalike.
From inside the Council Interceptor, the Command Lookalike reviewed the available data from the Delta 5 occurrence. Connected to the central computer via its microwave link and the Interceptor's onboard computer, it checked every detail associated with the incident. Again, it searched for new data that might have become available. It analyzed and reanalyzed everything. It was relentless. Even as this lookalike secured the interceptor on the aircar pad of Delta 4B's Alpha 1 building, it was still reassessing data. It approached Phora, seated at her communications terminal. She greeted it in an acceptable conservative manner. It paid no attention to the triviality. Every bit of its processor was bent on finding a course of action to handle the Delta 5 situation.
Council 12.
It verbalized mechanically. Phora considered challenging it, as no one just walked in and asked for an audience with the Council of 12. They ran the whole Delta and associated solar systems confederation. No one even knew who they were. If seen at all, they were likely to be front lookalikes. The request was delivered as a command and was not from a run-of-the-mill lookalike. She could feel its intensity. If she protested, it may sense her strength of mind.
Approach the scanner,
She instructed. It did. It knew it had to do that. Anyone visiting security sections of the building had to have a scan. The scanner self-adjusted to the height of the lookalike and scanned the eyes and upper head. With the subject not being human, the scanner sought the processor for an identity code. Phora routed the information without appearing interested. No conflicting data resulted. It would have been expected for her to appear nervous, and she was. Not from the altitude of the request, but giving herself away to this powerful lookalike. Although no alarm messages flashed across her screen, traffic volume displayed heightened activity. She wished she'd had Zentran's memory crystal monitoring it, but didn't. Soon a lift door opened, and 4 guards stepped out. They stood at attention on either side of the lift with disintegrators. The command lookalike, with its too erect posture, walked between them into the lift. In an instant they were gone, leaving no trace of the occurrence. The lookalike had been summoned on a matter of extreme urgency. Phora was certain the episode on Delta 5 that Zentran had informed her of was their concern. Not a great deal of time elapsed before the command lookalike was unceremoniously escorted back past Phora. It didn't have the functionality to look ill at ease. Somehow there was a trace of it though, and Phora could pick it up. There was something very different about this lookalike. It continued to process the data as it left Phora's communications area with the same non-optimum result. There was no course of action to take, no matter how the data was processed. Now it widened search parameters for unrelated but similar data. The incident at the Morning Sun Club presented itself. Meticulously, it inspected the feeds sent back by the lookalikes in the aircar pad before they'd been incapacitated. The perpetrator who'd been arrested had escaped and was still at large. Under normal circumstances, this person would have been deprogrammed and relocated into a synthetic body. That should have been the end result. The events that followed, though, were not in keeping with this individual. No, this was not the one who'd wreaked havoc in the club's aircar pad. It was too similar to the Delta 5 incident. The visuals it had of individuals running to the space cruiser on Delta 5 were much more likely to have been responsible. The Lookalike's unrelenting analyzer sifted through every piece of this new data. It looked at a visual of the young girl musician whose spontaneous performance had preceded the arrest. The aesthetics conveyed by her at the Zentran couldn't be assimilated, and the unusual influence which spilled over into the non-material universe was confusing. All it could do was use the data to find similar events. It found a high probability match. The visual of the girl musician matched that of the girl in the Delta 5 occurrence. She was similar to the girl that had run with the 3 men to the space cruiser. In the aircar pad, the command Lookalike installed itself back into the Council interceptor. Connecting itself to the onboard computer, the additional processing capability gave it an enhanced sense of power. It froze a shot of the girl's striking facial features through her pressure suit visor as she had briefly turned around. The high probability match status upgraded to full match. Via its microwave link, it coordinated the subordinate Lookalike pilot to set a course to Tranor. The girl at the Morning Sun Club had spoken Tranorian, a more than coincidental ability. She must have lived there. Tranor would be a source of further data. As the Lookalike pilot plotted in the course and prepared for lightspeed penetration, the command Lookalike secured another match. If it could experience any elevated emotion or sense of achievement at all, it came close to it now. The lead runner to the spacecraft on Delta 5 matched the starship captain accompanying a Tranorian-speaking girl. In another instant, it fixed further matching data from the 2 incidents to Zach. The interceptor lurched as its onboard computer aborted the light jump. A flash of light indicated a space cruiser coming out of light speed in their projected path. In the space cruiser, Zentran engaged manual and assessed the situation. The Council interceptor's presence was unfortunate, as they knew Nebulon's space cruiser. Moving out of his body, he entered the interceptor and inspected the 2 lookalikes. The pilot had once been a powerful being. Zentran severed its microwave link, rendering the connection inoperative. The other lookalike was different. Zentran summed up the commander in an instant. It was not a deprogrammed being. It had a lookalike body, but the being inside had inverted values. It was malevolent. Optimum was considered only for itself. All else was of no consequence. It controlled via material technology. There was no pride or honor with this thing. Its goal was compulsive domination. Fulfillment of this goal was by as foul a means as necessary. Destruction was its preferred choice. There was no courage either. It hid behind electronic weapons and feared mental energy, for it had none. Zentran knew it had matched data on them. For the first time in his life, he knew he had to destroy a living entity so that he, his friends, and others of his race might not be enslaved. With the likes of this degenerate creature, he didn't hesitate. He made it aware of his presence so that it could make its all-important data match. Then Zentran undid its molecular structure, resulting in a brown sticky mess on the interceptor floor. Zach was amused. He'd never seen Zentran this way, but his uncharacteristic action had been necessary. A further problem presented itself. A fleet of armed Council interceptors had become airborne and would soon be within visual distance of them. The cruiser's positional coordinates had been locked onto. These interceptors had a common mission: blow the cruiser out of space. Reluctantly, Zentran again prepared an escape route. For expedience, he engaged the previous course used to escape the incident on Delta 5 with twice the light velocity. The interceptors were greeted by nothing. The area had been vacated. Even the command Lookalike's interceptor was absent. No microwave contact with the destructured commander or pilot was available. It was as if they'd embarked on an erroneous mission. Finding itself disconnected from the Council central computer and the absence of the commander, the Lookalike pilot had claimed the interceptor and set its own light jump course, well away from the area that had held it captive for so long.